Behold, the £250 gaming rig returns. But this time, it's different. Okay, well, it's not that different. It's still going to have a Haswell i7 4770K. Still going to have 16 gigabytes of RAM. Still going to have a 256 gigabyte solid state drive. And the only real difference is instead of having a GTX 970 as it had before, it's now going to have a GTX 1060 with 6 gigabytes of VRAM. Okay, we're just going to have a quick look at some benchmarks for the £250 system. When I actually did the benchmarks, I was using an Asus motherboard, but with this is the score I got running the CPU at stock speeds. The card, you can't zoom in on it very well there, but the card was where are we? There you are, that's the settings it was on. 1892 boost on the cores, 2297 megahertz for the memory, which you double that, that's the effective speed. I also tried it with the 4770K overclocked, which didn't give it a massive uplift, only putting it up to 4.4 gigahertz only really give you like 100 or so more on the score. So that says to me that the 4770K just standard pretty much near enough maxes out that card, whereas when I did it with the GTX 1070 it was on 5128 with it all overclocked, and then standard speeds, that's actually with a 4790 there, but stock 4790 you're down 4720, so there's quite an uplift on the GTX 1070 when you overclock the i7, whereas not so much on the i6. So if you're running a standard card, chances are, or sorry, standard speed CPU, chances are there's not much point if you got the 4770K going any faster card than a GTX 1070. I think the TI you probably wouldn't gain a lot. What was I going to do? Just show you one other benchmark on here, if it'll load in. My submissions. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to overclock the CPU, then it is probably worth having a more powerful GPU with it. Like probably a GTX 1080 is going to be the max, but a TI would probably be worth it. Here we've got Unigine superposition 8K optimized. This was, I'm pretty sure, with it at stock speed. Yeah, we're on the stock Haswell. So there you go, 1784. Comparing to the other scores, GTX 1070 got me 2532, so that's quite an uplift, but that's because it uses all of your graphics memory. So having them extra 2 gigabytes of VRAM does make a hell of a lot of difference on there. And you can see with the old GTX 970, that's lagging behind quite a bit, because it's only got 4 gigabytes. Which is what the old £250 build had. Just done a quick PC mark, 4742. So that's the system as a whole. As I say, I hadn't overclocked the CPU on any of these, so that is what you would get performance-wise if you was just using an old office desktop. Got Firestrike there, 11672. The little triangle, when I clicked on it, was saying something about some sort of timing error or can't verify your time clock. I don't quite know what that's all about. Extreme 6150. Firestrike Ultra, that's a 4K benchmark as far as I know. 3250, and then the old Time Spy 4471. So they're pretty decent scores for a £250 PC. Okay, well, if you've made it this far in the video, you've looked at benchmarks and you can see what you can expect from a decent, well-built £250 PC with a decent CPU and GPU. In this case, the GTX 1060 6GB and the i7 4770K. What I've done is I've been messing about with it for a few days. What I've done since then, I've had a look at the prices of the CPUs and where they are now, and they've come down even further. The 4770K is now £40 from CEX, so you get a year's warranty. You can also get second gen 6-core Ryzens for the same sort of money. You can get a first gen Ryzen for about £25, but I don't really recommend them. Not when for the sake of an extra £15 you can have a second gen Ryzen, and my experience of first gen wasn't great. I personally didn't think they were as good as the Haswells, but then that's my opinion, my own testing from when they came out. It might be better now with better BIOS updates. I'm actually looking at getting an X470 motherboard so I can test some of the early Ryzens and see how they stack up now in 2023. But anyway, the setup tested, that should be good enough for playing most games. Definitely at 1080p and get you a decent frame rate. I mean, you've got options with it. You can basically have a high frame rate at 1080p, so if you're playing a game like Fortnite competitively, you can have a bit of a chance, or you can go for something that looks a bit nicer on a bigger screen, go for 1440p and just settle for about 60 frames per second frame rate, which is, you know, that's good enough for most people playing most games. The only thing I will say is this isn't a 4K PC. 4K, I think I might have put one bench on there, a bit of Fortnite, that it'll just about do it if you wanted to turn the settings right down and you're playing it on a TV set. But realistically, I wouldn't class it as a 4K machine. But 1440p, and if you want to play 1080p competitively with a high refresh rate monitor, I think that's good enough, unless you're like professional and you want 200 odd frames a second, but which you might get on CSGO. I didn't try it. So yeah, but what I've also found is if you look around hard, you could get yourself a Z170 motherboard now for about £60. And if you go on CEX, you can get a Skylake 6700K. You're only looking at £60. So if you can get a few bits together, like, you know, I've got cases before for free. You can pick up coolers. Mechanical drives are pretty much free now. You know, you can get a 256GB solid state for £15, the going rate. You ain't got to pay, I'm just trying to think now what I was going to say. Oh yeah, power supplies, you definitely want a decent one of them, but again, you can get sales, probably £40 to £50, going to get you a decent supply that will run any card, single card that you're ever likely to want. So £250, you can definitely get a decent PC, but I think all this, where we're getting Dell Optiplexes and putting a decent graphics card in, and that's the only way to do it, I think them days are coming to an end. There's enough hardware around now that's cheap enough that pretty much, if you're willing to spend a little bit of time online searching for exact components that you want, you can build, well, whatever you prefer really. But if you want to go down the AMD route, I would say that at the moment the 6-core, probably 2600X, or yeah, that's the what I would go for personally. That's the bargain CPU. Or if you want to go down the Intel route, if you can get one of them 6700K Skylakes, that'd be the route to go. I don't think going for the i5 Skylake would be a good idea, because in my own testing, when I've tried to record games with just quad cores, the game starts to fall flat. It just can't handle it. You need them extra threads. So yeah, that's my take on it. hopefully what you've seen in the video might help anyone who's building a cheap £250 PC. And the Optiplex is still a good option. You can pick up the 3020 base units. I think they're about £50 now. So you've got a system there. If you stick a graphics card in, you can use straight away. But yeah, there's options out there, and I hope people find this helpful and informative. If you like it, please like and subscribe.